Alright. This brief lecture is designed to give you an introduction to Islam, an introduction to the basic tenets of the religion, and the difference between Sunni and Shia. We'll do this in two major parts. The first part, Arabic, Muhammad, and the Quran, and the second part on the division between Sunni and Shia. There is not a single Islam. There are many Islams, in fact, but the major division is between Sunni and Shia. What exactly that means. But first, I want to start with the language, Arabic. It is the language of Islam. It is the language of the Quran. You do not need to know Arabic for this course, obviously, but some familiarity with the basics of the grammar and some rudimentary vocabulary will help you to more thoroughly appreciate and enjoy the class as well. Al, with a hyphen, is a very commonly seen construction in Islam. It's simply the definite article, the. Al-Qaeda means the base, or the foundation. Ibn, or bin, Osama bin Laden, means son of. Osama, son of Laden. Another very common construction, obviously, in names. Hajj, sometimes spelled with two J's, sometimes with one, is the pilgrimage to Mecca. Allah, of course, is the Arabic word for God. This is, as we are going to see, the same God as the God of the Old Testament and the New Testament. The God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, Yahweh. And then the phrase Allah Akbar, God is great. You often hear, well, you quite frankly often hear it in jihadi videos. More on that later. Qibla, the direction of prayer during the 5 daily prayers, is the direction of Mecca, specifically the Kaaba inside the Great Mosque in Mecca. Emir, Sheikh are honorary titles, originally military title for Emir, Sheikh, an elder, especially in the tribal sense. Finally, a Sharif is an honorary title as well. It is a descendant of the Prophet. Arabic is the language spoken by Muhammad, spoken by the people in the Arabian Peninsula of the 7th century. Let's meet now the Prophet Muhammad.
The life of Muhammad ibn Abdullah began in 570 of the Common Era. He was born in Mecca, a thriving trading community in the land that is today Saudi Arabia. No one could have known that the life of this child would be the foundation of a religion that would one day change history. At the time of Muhammad's birth, Arabia was a harsh, barren land, broken only by the occasional oasis. The Arabs who lived in this demanding world migrated from site to site, struggling to live off their flocks in the harsh desert. To survive in such a place, Arabs depended on the support of their tribe. The tribe protected them from harm, not only from the desert, but also from the endless raids and vendettas launched by other tribes.
Social life in pre-Islamic Arabia was grim, and Muhammad was born into a time of violence, turmoil, and despair, not unlike our own. The basic structure of social organization was the tribe.
But the desert nomads also depended on other Arabs who had gradually built small cities they engaged in commerce. The most prosperous of these cities was Mecca, home to the young Muhammad. Muhammad was a member of a tribe called the Quraysh, who had left the nomadic life and become prosperous as caravan traders. Muhammad had been raised an orphan. By the time he was 8, he was under the care of an uncle who was head of one clan of the Quraysh tribe. As the primary tribe of Mecca, the Quraysh were also the keepers of the Arabs' holiest religious shrine, the Kaaba. Although a deity known as Allah was recognized, many other gods and goddesses were also worshipped at the ancient Kaaba. Arabs prayed to over 300 idols that stood in and around the sacred cube-shaped structure.
It had a very important social and political consequence because it was a holy place and all violence was forbidden in a 30-mile radius around the Kaaba.
Trading had brought wealth to Mecca, but jealousy and constant feuds were breaking down the old tribal system. The rich were ignoring the poor. Some felt that the old Arab religion needed change. Jews and Christians had had their prophets of reform. Just as Moses and Jesus had provided inspiration and renewal, many in Mecca now longed for a new spiritual revitalization. Muhammad had become a caravan manager in his native city, leading trading trips as far away as the land that is today Syria. But he was also aware that the old values of charity and community were breaking down in Mecca. Muhammad was deeply respectful of the religion of his ancestors. He was a frequent visitor to the Kaaba and attempted to lead a life of fairness and respect for all.
We don't have lots and lots of information about the Prophet Muhammad before he was called to be a prophet, but that information which the tradition has passed down indicates somebody who was, on the one hand, very good at what he did, a caravan manager. His nickname, among other things, was Al-Amin, the trustworthy person.
He was very soon known as the righteous one because he was known for being a fair kind of man, a man who was concerned with social issues.
In the year 595, Muhammad was hired by a wealthy woman of Mecca named Khadijah to organize and guide a caravan for her. He accepted and returned with a handsome profit. The trip would begin a new life for Muhammad and Khadijah.
He was an international business executive whose boss was a woman, and he was obviously very eligible and proposed to him directly.
Khadija, in many ways, is an interesting historical figure. She's a self-made woman who decided to propose to Muhammad, who was not a prophet at that time. He was, reports say, 15 years her junior. They apparently had a very loving relationship.
Muhammad and Khadijah had 5 daughters. Muhammad was an adoring father, and throughout his life displayed affection for all children. Although the clan headed by his uncle had little prestige among the Quraysh, Muhammad's reputation in Mecca continued to grow. He was known for his kindness to slaves, his charity to the poor, and his fairness in dealing with all. Each year during Ramadan, the 9th month of the lunar year, Muhammad sought out the mountains surrounding Mecca as a place where he could refresh himself in solitude and prayer. In the year 610, at the age of 40, the humble business manager and family man took himself on one of these retreats to a mountain cave. Day and night, Muhammad remained in the cave to fast and pray. One night, as flames danced on the darkened cave walls, Muhammad's life changed forever. Suddenly, an angel in the form of a man appeared and commanded him to proclaim. Muhammad was terrified and confused and said he had nothing to proclaim. The angel clasped Muhammad in a suffocating embrace. Harder and harder he was squeezed until it seemed the last breath of life would be wrung from his body.
Proclaim in the name of thy Lord who created man from a clot of blood. Proclaim, and thy Lord is most bountiful.